Hello, random YouTube people. Today, I will be reviewing this brand new Ego Power Plus battery-operated snowblower. Stay tuned. Subscribe. Well, hello, random YouTube people. It's finally snowed and I get a chance to test out my new Ego snowblower. If you haven't already watched my unboxing video, to recap, what I am going to be reviewing today is the Ego Power Plus Peak Power 56 volt 21-inch single stage push cordless electric snowblower with 5 amp hour batteries and a steel blade auger. It's been over a month since it snowed and I've just sat here with this new snowblower in my garage and I can't wait to test it out. I'm a little anxious because in my initial setup video some commenters were suggesting that this is not a great snowblower, but we're going to find out. The snow today is about almost an inch and a half, which should be great for a test. And I'm still within the month time frame about returning this product if I don't like it. So let's give it a shot. Well, here is my snowblower. You can still see I have some of the wrapping on it. I started to take it off until I decided I'm gonna leave it alone. Why not? If I don't like it and I decide I'm going to return it, I may as well leave the packaging on it. Now I'm just taking off the 5 amp hour batteries off the charger and putting them into the battery chamber. It's a simple plug and play. It's really very nice and simple. Sorry about the cars driving by sound. It's about time for kids to be picked up from school. Here I'm just grabbing onto the nice lever to angle the chute deflector and testing out how I can very easily pivot it from side to side with this nice little lever. It's very easy, the easiest I've ever seen in a snowblower. And we are off. Wish me luck. Even just right off the bat here, you can see it does a pretty decent job when the snow is wet. How this works is you can see there's a little built-in shovel in the snowblower. That's what picks up the snow, then the auger spins and eats up the snow that's been picked up by that little shovel piece. So the auger never actually touches the ground. So we're relying on this little shovel piece to grab the snow off the concrete initially, and then this auger will eat it up. Now I've turned up the volume in my video editor. This snowblower is not nearly as loud as you think it is. It's really very, very quiet. That's what I like best about it. It doesn't hurt your ears, where you have to sit and do earplugs with a regular snowblower. This one you do not. It is so quiet. And I know a thing or two about loud noises. I have had hearing damage because of it. I have a ringing in my right ear that I've had for 13 years now. So anything to save on volume or protect your ears, I am all for it. Here I'm just being a little hesitant as I approach the fence because I didn't want the auger to tear up the fence. But I then later realized that the auger does not sit beyond the snowblower, it sits back within. So I was fine all along, but just being careful. At this point, so far, so good. From this point forward in the video, I'm pretty much going to be in fast forward mode. No, I'm not really walking this fast. So the first critique I have of this snowblower right off the bat is that it is a push snowblower. It's not automatic. So it's not going to pull you along, you have to push through it. And sometimes the snow is a little hard to push through if it's really wet and thick. So the auger speed can help eat up some of the snow, but you're still gonna have to sit and push this thing, and it's kind of like pushing a pretty heavy shovel compared to a regular shovel. On the driveway approach where it's angled, I found myself slipping on the wet concrete because I had to push the snowblower through the snow. So it can be a little bit tricky in some areas, but they do make a new version of this snowblower that is self-propelled. It even has heated grips, but that's in the neighborhood of $350 or so more expensive than this version. So if you're still rolling in the dough in this inflation-infused era of 2023, more power to you. But this one was expensive enough for me to get in the first place, so I don't think I would spend more to just have a little bit more convenience. But otherwise, it really does throw the snow pretty decently. First world problems aside, this thing does do a pretty good job. Well, as you can see, it's still left quite a bit of snow down on the ground there. It is actively snowing, but me going up and down didn't seem to do as well at clearing as going east to west, if you will. So perhaps it has something to do with the pour in the direction of the concrete and the way that they brushed it. But right now going back and forth, or east and west, seems to be doing a better job than going north and south. but because I have a full concrete pad over there, I can't really throw the snow into my neighbor's yards. So I'm gonna throw it back into my yard. And well, it's not the best, but it does do a good job of clearing the bulk of the snow at least. So this is a snowblower that maybe you'll still need to shovel a little bit, but you won't be heaving heavy loads of snow because this will take care of the bulk of it. So compared to gas, no, it's not the best, but it's not too bad. Now I decided I did want to go back and do the east and west like I just discussed. This isn't the snow that was left over from the snowblower. This is actually new snow that's been pouring while I've been recording. So I'm going to grab some of that and try the east and west and see if that makes a difference. The other critique I wanted to mention is because this is a shovel auger situation, sometimes the snow doesn't build up enough for the auger to kick in. So you'd end up with a big thick chunk of snow in the front of your snowblower that you're just pushing along the concrete until the auger can get enough to grab onto. So the kind that is a rubber paddle would be better contact with the concrete itself, but this version will actually protect your concrete more than the rubber paddle kind, I think. At the end here, I'm just gathering some of the snow buildup off of the snowblower so I can just auger that off onto the grass. This little angle and the chute pivoting left and right and the sound kind of gives me some R2-D2 vibes. Well, you can see this is me having basically snowblowed the driveway twice. I went north and south and then east and west, but that's because it's still actively snowing. I think if it wasn't actively snowing, I would have only done it the one time. But one thing to point out is basically I did my driveway twice, and these 5 amp hour batteries have lasted the whole way. So they're down on their last leg here, and that one's even in the red. But fortunately for me, I could swap it out with my other battery over here. So I'm in a good situation as far as batteries concerned, and my size of driveway. It's a 3-car garage and then extra side drive all the way to the end of the property. So it's a pretty big driveway. So happy with the battery life. I am decently happy with the snowblower's performance overall. Because it's not self-propelled, it does get hard to push sometimes, and my feet slip around on the snow. So the self-propelled version, which is a couple $100 more expensive, might be actually quite nice. So the steel auger version will help save my concrete because it doesn't come in direct contact with the concrete. There are kinds that have the rubber paddles, and those will actually contact the driveway, which will probably do a better job of cleaning up all of the snow off the driveway than the steel blade auger. But I like my driveway, and I don't want to get it all messed up. We have some people in our neighborhood who have the concrete cancer, and has those little chunks of concrete that are missing, and you can see exposed rocks. And I don't want to further allow my concrete to become like that by having a rubber blade snowblower, though it would probably do a better job of completely clearing the snow off the driveway. But overall, I'm pretty decently happy with the steel blade auger. I might give it another snow. I think I have a 90-day return on this. I'll have to double check. But so far, I mean, it does a decent job. There are still some parts where I'm going to need to do some extra shoveling, like over here in the corners, where there's some buildup of snow. But overall, it's not too bad. I mean, it's probably, if you're in a tight budget, probably not the best thing to go with. And I can say this because I'm not being sponsored by Ego. Hey, that's a hint, Ego. You should sponsor me so you can get me to say what you want me to say. But overall, I enjoy it. I like that it's battery operated, and I don't get the gasoline, wet clothes, snow smell, which is gross afterwards. I just get the wet snow smell instead of the gas thrown in there. So the battery part of it's great. I don't have to worry about mixing gas with oil, which is how I blew up the snowblower before this, because I just completely spaced it one year. It was fine for several years, but one year I just completely forgot, and I ended up messing up the snowblower because of it. Don't have to worry about that with this. So that's really what's nice about this being electric. 40-foot throwing distance, probably not quite that accurate, but it does a decent job. I like how you can adjust the angles, and my favorite part is how easy it is to turn the chute with the easy handle. Just so easy compared to anything I've ever used before. Didn't really use the lights today because it's quite bright outside. But overall, I'd say I'm pretty happy with it. I'll probably keep it. But if you're on a budget, you might as well go check the classifieds and see if there's a used gasoline one, and that would be your best bet. You know what I had just done is I took my shovel to clean up some of that stuff I mentioned, and I went over some areas, and it's probably because the snowblower compacted it a little bit, but my shovel didn't do any better of a job scraping this up. This kind of snow, this temperature, this time of year. So, I mean, it does pretty dang good. So, like I said, if you're on a budget, then you do that for yourself. But this is a pretty nice snowblower. If you want completely cleared driveway, the paddle kind is probably better, but the steel blade auger's pretty decent. There are some places where when you're going along, the snow builds up in front of the machine and it kind of just pushes the snow along with it. And it doesn't really auger it until you get to a place where there's some other buildup of snow, and it kind of compacts the snow, and it can then dig through it when you get to kind of at the edge of the grass. So sometimes it just pushes the snow along rather than eating it up, even at full speed. But as you can see, not too shabby. Granted, this was not a huge thick snow, but because I threw the snow from the east to the west and it collected and it got thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker, the snow did get to about 3 inches or so in some places. So overall, pretty happy with it. So I think I will keep it. One thing I really do like is the ability for this to collapse all the way down. You have to make sure the chute's out of the way, but it will collapse all the way down. It doesn't take up as much space in my garage, and I can store it easily when I'm not using it at all for like the summertime. But quick and easy to just pop out the batteries and drop them back on the charger. And like I said, in my experience, it only takes about 30 minutes to get a pretty decent charge out of these. And with my spare battery for my lawnmower, I don't even really need to worry about that. But if you want to get the bigger 7.5 amp hour battery version, then it's going to last a lot longer. Sorry about the sniffles I have. I am outside and I did just snow blow. Just drops it right back on. And now it's charging. Really simple and nice. Don't you like my little storage unit? Custom made? I'll have to make a little video about how I did that. So what are my final thoughts after just one snowblowing session with this? I like it. I think I'm going to keep it. I've already spent the money on it, of course. Is it as good as gas? No, it's not, because the gas can spin the blade so much better, or so much faster, and so much more energetically, if you will, than the battery could ever do. But it really is pretty decent. And I like that it's not corded like some other electrics. And I like that it's interchangeable with my other Ego products. And I'm going to test out these nice LED lights in the dark, but right now it's not necessary. I love that it can collapse down. The throwing distance is okay. There are some downsides to it, like the snow collecting in the front, like I discussed. But overall, this is a handy little snowblower. And that'll save me some back pain. I just have to push it forward more often than having to scoop heavy loads of snow over my shoulder. So this will be really good for me. I have MS, and sometimes being out here shoveling snow, especially this amount of snow that can collect on this size of a driveway, sometimes I really just don't have the energy to do it because of my MS, but this will help out quite a lot. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me on this journey to find out whether or not the Ego snowblower is worth it or not. I think so. Overall, I'm happy with it. I'd probably give it about a 3.5 out of 5.
4 out of 5 if it was self-propelled.
Because of some of the snow collection issues at the front that doesn't quite auger up all of the snow that it comes in contact with, and how it doesn't quite get quite down to the concrete level, but that kind of is also a good thing because it's not going to tear up my concrete. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go check out my other video where I talk about how to set this thing up and what it looks like coming out of the box. And stay tuned for more bodacious videos.
Subscribe.